Ladies and gentlemen, the crypto space. We're live on a Monday, August 30th at 12:19 p.m. A little late today. I'm sorry, guys. I am quite under the weather at the moment. I'm going to do my best, get as many ideas as I can out there. Hopefully, my bandwidth keeps up with everything today. Let's get this party started. Sit back and relax. That's the goal. And watch capital flows. So, sit back and relax is the most important thing. If you're filled with anxiety, if you don't know what to do, why to do it, how to do it, mistakes are made, slippage is incurred, 3, 4, 5% losses on transactions, and then you get the transaction fee burn if you're operating at an L1, Ethereum L1 level. And clearly that's not necessarily the case if you're playing with the Avalanche or Phantom at this point. But there's a whole lot of capital getting thrown around, which is totally going to get people's emotions in a whirlwind. You got $500 million being thrown around between Phantom and Avalanche right about now. As developers put in their applications and the capital gets spread around, there's going to be a lot of yield to be had. And they do this for a very obvious reason. They want capital inflow into their network. And that is a core component of a functional and sustainable financial system. You need critical mass liquidity, you need the money markets, and you need the Forex market. So really the combination of Aave and Curve or alternatives. It doesn't necessarily need to be the pinnacle or the linchpin brand names. There's been a lot of activity on Solana, and it hasn't been the historic market leaders of the likes of Aave and Curve, but they've done quite well. And Avalanche has done quite well thus far with regard to capital inflows, not without Aave and Curve having been deployed thus far, which they are going to be deployed. And Curve has been on Phantom for quite some time, and there's plenty of other AMMs. You got Spooky Swap, which is the original on Phantom, one of the first. So there's just a lot to consider. There's a lot of information, and what I like to start, or what I'd like to start this stream hitting on probably the most specifically is anxiety, emotions, fear, and all that stuff that leads to non-optimal outcomes. So let's get back into the stream. Let's see what people's commentary is, and let's figure out how we can do better together. Sit back and relax. That's the goal. Watch capital flows. Today's episode is sponsored by Change Angel, the non-custodial swap exchange for social goods. Stop depositing on exchanges, not your keys, not your crypto, non-custodial DeFi, or nothing at all. Bam. Let's pop it over to the main screen and see who's in the stream. Got Andrews in the house. Awesome live stream yesterday. That was awesome. I like talking to those boys. I think that was a good trifecta, and it goes across the spectrum of ideology. And I think we're all very much on the same page at the core fundamental level. We all agree. And we all have had different paths to get to where we are. But it's interesting because ultimately, once you get to a level of experience and interacting with these markets, you end up on a very similar page. And I think we all are there. I look forward to talking to those boys again. I think the dialogue is wonderful, productive, and entertaining for people viewing, informative, educational, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I'm gonna ping those boys. Keep that party going. Killis is in the house. Barry, what's up? John, Phantom, or Avalanche? So that's not the question. That's not the question, my friend. The question is, you can't be on both. And what I like to tell everyone is a very contrarian ideology. You can't be on both, and you don't have to pick the winner. You don't have to pick the better. You don't have to pick where more capital flows go. What you want to do is find positions that best allow you to express how you feel about the markets. You want to pick positions that make the most sense for you. And it doesn't matter if it doesn't outperform. What matters is that you respected yourself and you're expressing yourself and you're expressing how you want to store value and grow value and deploy capital. So stop trying to outperform and get the best play. Because what will happen is you'll be like, oh, this isn't the best. Then you'll withdraw and you'll transfer and you'll get a 3% slippage and you'll be in a new asset. And then you'll feel the same exact sentiment all over again. So this is where conviction comes in. And this is where it's important to come to the realization you don't need to make as much capital as possible. This is, yes, that's nice. We would all like to, but I think that's part of the speculative nature of capital allocation, capital deployment. Is if it happens that you make the most capital, that's great. But what's most important is that you're not filled with anxiety. You're not second guessing your positions. You're not deploying for 5 minutes, an hour, a day. You got to find positions that allow you to relax, sit back and relax. And that makes all the difference. That's the goal. So watch the capital flows. Ethereum L1 is Ethereum L1. That's where the big boys are going to be playing. They don't give a crap about the small networks. They want time-tested, mother-approved protocols. They want Aave. They want Curve. They want Uniswap. They want old names. They want Bancor. They want stuff that is going to be reliable and predictable. There's an increased risk profile with protocols on these new EVM chains, not necessarily with the big brand names. When Aave and Curve deploy on Avalanche, that's going to be quite meaningful. I dig the Avalanche monetary policy, fixed token supply with a variable time frame for total emissions. That's quite interesting, as well as the disinflationary pressure of the transaction fee burn component. That's cool. Phantom has heavy hitters. Andre is a big proponent of Phantom. And Curve's been on Phantom for quite a while. Um, and there's $370 million worth of liquidity incentives being thrown around. That's historic. So, you know, deploy to Avalanche, deploy to Phantom, stay on Ethereum L1. Obviously, Ethereum L1 prices people out. 178 GUI on transactions right about now. You're talking $50, $100, $200 a transaction, and that's not so easy to stomach. So you get some capital over to Avalanche or Phantom or even to Polygon still at this point, and you play around and you have some fun. But this isn't fun. You know, I hit on the stream yesterday that this is serious. This isn't a game. You're trying to make a difference for yourself, your friends, and your family. Um, so sure, it's important and a necessity to experiment, but you don't want to take exorbitant losses experimenting. So the same rules apply. If you're going to take on 3, 4, 5% slippages on a transaction, you're going to hurt yourself financially over, could happen relatively quickly if you do too many transactions with those kind of slippages. Or if it's too much of a volatile asset, or if it's an asset that's highly inflationary and the only reason it's appreciating is because adoption is temporarily greater than the inflation rate, which is the story for a lot of assets. Inflation is very powerful and it is debasing. There'll be more sellers than buyers because the circulating supply is ever increasing. Food for thought, food for thought. Truly says, hey, Noah, if you're new to DeFi and would like to start generating ordinary income, would you suggest providing liquidity on Curve, then putting those LP tokens on Convex? Okay, so first steps are always like a stablecoin, preferably GUSD, even USDC, on Aave. It's going to be pricey on Ethereum L1, so if you get on Polygon, there's a couple of places to go directly to Polygon nowadays. You can play around with Aave and a stablecoin. That's a learning experience unto itself, particularly because you have to get accustomed to a hardware wallet. You shouldn't be interacting on DeFi without a hardware wallet through MetaMask. And you need to know what buttons to click on your device, what buttons to click on the website portals, what portals to go to. So this is all learning experience. So stablecoins and Aave, it's banking. Digital banking, crypto banking. That's the first place. And then there's plenty of things you could play around with, like take your stablecoins and borrow stablecoins and put them on Curve. I know that sounds silly, but that's a good learning experience because there's no chance of liquidation other than the collateralization ratio dictates that the interest you owe, uh, your collateralization, your health factor is decreasing over time, um, because the interest you owe is increasing your debt, and considering the health factor requirement, your minimum collateralization ratio, um, you you your health factor will continuously decline. That's the nature of a debt position. That's the way the Aave protocol works. So you still have to manage your debt position, but you can experience providing collateral in stable form, taking debt in stable form, making interest that's greater than your debt, and being able to pay off your debt using that free interest cash flow. Um, and that is a good experience that has a risk minimized profile to it. And obviously, providing volatile assets as collateral changes the risk profile significantly. You have to pay more attention to the health factor, so on and so forth. So that's how you get your feet wet. That's how you get a little bit of a taste for DeFi without taking pretty much any meaningful degree of risk at all. Robert, what's up? Noah, catching a live stream. Always a pleasure. I'm always here as best as I can, and I'm trying hard right now. Captain Rational doesn't feel so well, but we'll see what I can do. Robert, we can do better. That's right. Killis, what are your thoughts on Hop Exchange? Yeah, that's awesome stuff. So, for me, I hinted at it. I hinted on it in the live stream yesterday. I'm interested in high conviction, long time horizon, yield bearing, revenue stream generating positions. Now, Hop Protocol, it's a little early for my taste. I'll wait another couple months, 6 months. I'll let the stability and the liquidity in the protocol improve. But that's a protocol for me where you're taking stables or even volatile assets that don't have impermanent loss, and you're swapping them one for one with a tokenized representation on another chain. So that's a heck of a protocol because that facilitates interchain liquidity. And that's what I want to capitalize on. I want to capitalize on capital flow and transaction fees. And Hop Protocol is a wonderful representation of exactly what I want to capitalize on. Now, with regard to Avalanche and Phantom, there's not much that's really catching my eye. I've taken a couple of speculative positions. Yak caught my eye pretty much. That's about it. Um, what Obviously Aave and Curve are going to catch my eye on Avalanche, but Phantom just got the announcement that it'll have pretty much twice as much incentives deployed. And so Curve obviously is on Phantom. Spooky Swap is on Phantom. And Spooky Swap specifically has the XBOO asset, where transaction fees from the protocol are used to purchase BOO from the open market, creating a constant buy pressure, which is a bit of a disinflationary pressure, which is a disinflationary pressure. So I happen to like that asset. Um, I'm very picky. I don't deploy capital unless it's logical or reasonable, and it's something catches my smellometer and something I begin to not like. I have no problem liquidating a position and migrating capital to find something where I could feel comfortable sitting for an extended time horizon. I don't want short term time horizon plays unless it's obvious, and I'm definitely not in a buy low, sell high mood. Especially today, I don't want to be babysitting a position, watching to make sure the technicals are aligned, short term trends, moving averages, so on and so forth, or respecting trends. So Spell is a nice position that I have. That's obviously Abracadabra and the MIM stablecoin. Um, this has the tokenomics that I like. Uh, Interest on debt is used to purchase Spell from the open market. Um, and that is consistent with my ideology. So this is an asset that I've deployed some capital to. This is going to be a long-term play, and we're talking a very small position. Um, how big is this position? Uh, it's like point. It's a fraction of a percent of the portfolio. Just food for thought how I size certain positions, but it'd be nice if it grows. It's a relatively newer protocol, so newer protocol. I mean, in terms of years. So give it some time. Frac shares is a relatively large position because I think the tokenomics and the concept behind the protocol are very much in line with my interests and allow me to express the way I view the way the markets are heading with regard to stablecoins. Frax is a programmatic stablecoin, partially collateralized, and it really catches my fancy, albeit it was rejected from a previous high, and maybe we'll have a nice cup and handle. That'd be interesting if it dips down to 5 and flips around. That'd be a pretty big cup and handle. But irrespective of the technicals, the fundamentals warrant a long-term play to such a degree that I locked it up for 4 years. The protocol has a time lock component, so I got a 4-year lock on my FXS, and it's up like almost 200%. No more. I mean, my goodness. Heck of an appreciative cycle over the last couple of weeks. And obviously, Ethereum and Bitcoin technicals I keep an eye on. If we let them load, we'll take a look at the technicals real quick there. Let's keep it up with the stream. Restless Native, Humble. You're referring to HMBL, Humble, or me being humble? Whatever it is, both of them are quite interesting. I try and be humble. Humble's an interesting company. It's all good. Alex, it's a pleasure, the philosopher king of DeFi. I try my best. I want to help you guys because in the process, I'm trying to help myself. I do this stream to help myself better understand the markets, and it's basically just a verbal, uh, uh, a verbal excretion of everything that's going on in my mind. Andrew, what are the places to get right to Matic without having to bridge? Nothing to my, nothing that I could speak to right now. But for instance, one second. Excuse me. So I use just the bridge. I don't mind operating on Ethereum. I'll wait for gas to go down to like 75, 80, 90 Gwei, and I'll operate on Ethereum L1. Albeit, um, was it OKX? OK Exchange, I think has, or Binance even has direct to Polygon. I'm sure Gemini and Coinbase will go direct to Polygon at some point, but nothing that I could really be helpful with right now. Kill us, always a pleasure. Craig's in the house, my man. Always a pleasure. Chris, hi Noah. Stream yesterday was one of the best discussions in DeFi I have seen. I thought it was such a great trio of opinions. Your perspective has changed the way I approach the space. Yeah, that's a great group. Um, Messi and Taiki, we got some good ideas, and I think that was a good spectrum, as you mentioned, and I like that, and I'd like to do that more. Uh, I saw your tweet yesterday about revenue generating assets. I looked into Drip and it seems to be a solid idea. Yeah, the problem is it's on Binance Smart Chain, so I have absolutely no interest in it. The Buddy system throws it off to me, feels like a scam. Did you look into it yet? Zero interest in anything that's on Binance Smart Chain. I don't trust capital on that chain. I don't have any interest in that chain. Period. Just keep it simple as that. My primary focus is Ethereum L1. Avalanche has peaked some interest with the incentives protocol and the deployment of Aave and Curve. Phantom has the support of Andre and a lot of the real heavy hitter developers in the DeFi space, as well as a relatively early deployment of the Curve protocol with an incentives program currently. So Phantom is probably catching my eye the most right now, and that changed quick because that incentives program was just announced. I don't want to discount Polygon at all, but you can't own everything you want to own. I can't deploy to both Avalanche, Phantom, and Polygon and Ethereum L1. And no, it's not going to happen. In fact, I'd prefer just to stick to Ethereum L1, albeit I think there's some opportunities. And this Expo has caught my eye. And obviously capitalizing on the incentives program. It's a $500 million. So if you do the same thing that we did on Polygon, deploying collateralizable assets to Aave or even stablecoins to Aave, and just building a free Phantom position and a free AVAX position. I mean, who could argue? It's a relatively risk minimized deployment of capital. You take 100 grand, you throw it on to Aave on Avalanche, and you get in after dilution probably 5, 10, 15%, but you get in free AVAX. So I don't know. At least that's where my mind is heading. The protocols aren't released. Aave and Curve are not deployed. There is yield to be had on Curve on Phantom at the moment. I'm leaning towards a small fraction of a percent expo position because I just don't have one, and I think having it is speculatively decent rather than like stablecoins deployed on Phantom Curve, because with the $370 million incentives program, that's going to throw a lot of capital over the bridge, and people are going to be doing things irrationally and exuberantly. And Expo has a capacity to capitalize on that exuberance vis-a-vis the transaction fees, which are used to buy back Boo from the open market. Let's keep it going on the comments. I'm going to wrap it up soon. I don't feel well, guys. I'm sorry. Truly, Noah, do you have any concerns regarding USDT? No, not unless the legacy financial system and the debt that backs it are about to implode. And even if the debt that backs it implode and USDT goes to 70 cents on the dollar, people will sell it because it's a depreciating asset. And then as the collateralization of the asset begins to rebuild and it goes to 80 cents, 90 cents, people are going to buy it because now it's an appreciating asset. If it drifts from peg because legacy debt becomes unstable, all that means is instead of people holding Tether as a stablecoin, they'll be buying and selling it because it's now become a volatile asset which depreciates and appreciates. There's nothing catastrophic about it losing peg. All that means is that it's what it's backed by has lost value, and the system has to recalibrate. They're going to do margin calls. They're going to recollateralize it with additional garbage debt and whatever they do. That's all it means. So there's nothing systemically concerning whatsoever about USDT in my mind. Understanding the way the business model works, it's just a collateralized asset, and we question the nature and the stability and the integrity of what they're using as collateral, but that's all it is. If the collateral shits itself, it drops from the peg. And then people sell it because it's now an asset that's volatile, it's depreciating, and then just as I said, it'll go back up in value. People buy it because now they're going to make a profit. Instead of it being pegged, it now just changes price. And that will probably be transitory. That probably won't last that long. I'm glad I'm not the only one that doesn't like using BSC. You're right, Joshua. Zero interest here. The incentives on FTM are for the developers, not the LPs, correct? Unknown. Look over the announcement. This is all interesting. And this is where these are the protocols and programs that encourage capital flow to the tune of billions of dollars. And if an opportunity presents itself, so be it. What's most pertinent is that you extend due diligence, you don't operate irrationally, you take pause, and you keep cool. If you have anxiety, you stop. Don't do anything if you're feeling the FOMO. Don't do anything if you don't have a clear mind and you're willing to have a decent time horizon and take a position for 2 months, 6 months, 4 years. But unless you're really staring at the technicals, like I'm doing right now for Ethereum, don't take a position for a couple hours. Don't take a position for a day. You're going to drive yourself nuts. I got no capacity to stare at this chart. I got to get off this call and I got to go back to work. So don't put yourself in a position where you're going to have anxiety that you bought something, and if you're not watching it and you're going back to work and it shits itself, you're in a bad position. You need to be able to relax. You need to be able to sit back and just what I said with the title of the stream, sit back and relax. That's the goal. If you can't do that, you're not where you really need to be, in my opinion. And that's what I like to talk about on this stream. All right, let's wrap up the stream. 44 people in the stream, 15 likes. We can do better. Monday, August 30th, 12:44 p.m. As always, thank you all for joining me. We'll have another episode tomorrow. After party on Discord, and I wish you all a wonderful day. You have a good one now. Peace.